All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. It's 6:02 p.m. Ms. Sheldon, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Stephanie Dalton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Holly Berry.
Here.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Terry Holmes.
Here.
Commissioner Hayes Wilkinson.
Here.
And for today's invocation, please join me in a moment of silence to reverently collect our thoughts, pray, and ready ourselves for this meeting and the duties to which we have been called. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Brennan, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First, we have consideration of the minutes for approval or correction. Do we have any corrections on the December 3rd, 2024 work session meeting? Nope. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll move.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey and a second from Vice Mayor Berry. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Any corrections for the December 3rd commission meeting?
I had one on page 7 for the election of the vice mayor. It stated Commissioner Berry when it should have, I think it should have been Mayor Dalton for the second approval or some kind of, I don't have
Okay.
a computer in front of my eyes, but there was a,
Can you just maybe,
I can pull it up on the computer.
I read it and reread it and I thought, and maybe I'm,
Regular commission meeting minutes.
yeah,
PDF.
Mayor Dalton was elected and then the vice mayor nominees and then
Election of mayor.
it's election of the vice mayor
Election of
section.
vice mayor.
Yeah, on page 7.
But were you sworn in at the time?
Mm-hmm. She was already sworn in.
After a pause. Oh yeah, it says it says after a pause, Commissioner Berry made a motion to cease nominations. I think
And it should have read
Oh,
Mayor
it should have
Dalton.
been
Mayor
me.
Dalton made a motion to cease
Yeah.
nominations. Seconded by Commissioner Wilkinson.
Am I correct?
Yeah,
You are.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
good catch.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
thank you,
Mhm.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as corrected?
I'll move.
Motion from Vice Mayor Berry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Holmes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And finally, do we have any corrections to the December 3rd, 2024 Beer Board meeting? Nope. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll approve. Or I'll move.
Motion from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey, and second.
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Wilkinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. And moving on, I'm doing everything digitally for the first time ever, so bear with me. Thank you so much for your patience. For my mayor's report, welcome everyone to our last meeting of 2024. If you were able to attend our Christmas Parade and Festival this past Saturday, then I don't need to tell you what a wonderful, magical, and fun time it was. Thank you to all of our neighbors and friends who came out to celebrate with us, but a special thank you to our staff, sponsors, vendors, and volunteers, especially to our Festival Advisory Board and Jeffrey Graby, our Parks and Rec Manager. I keep thinking you all can't possibly top what you've done the year before, and then you always do. So looking forward to seeing what next year's going to look like. And thank you for helping us make such wonderful memories with our neighbors. I hope you all had a chance to stop by the TSW pop-up at the festival to review and give feedback on the 2 draft concepts for the former Red Bank Middle School site that were based on a year's worth of public input, workshops, community meetings, and surveys. Stay tuned for details around an upcoming public open house in January. And it was a pleasure to attend our annual Red Bank Fire Department Awards breakfast this past weekend. And I wanted to issue congratulations to firefighters Brandon Lampier and Clint Montgomery on 5 years of service each, to firefighter volunteer support Greg Van Horn on 30 years of service, and to our wonderful fire chief, who is not with us this evening, Mr. Brent Seiler on 35 years of service to Red Bank. We are so thankful for his leadership. And I also want to extend congratulations to Brandon Abbott on being chosen as Firefighter of the Year by his fellow firefighters, and to firefighters Chad Toffick and Zach Brown on their special recognition awards. Commissioner Holmes was also there. I cannot tell the story of their heroism like our chief told it, but I can tell you that firefighters Toffick and Brown acted with extreme courage and fortitude when their fellow firefighters needed help exiting a burning structure and saved their lives. I don't care to think about what would have happened without their quick thinking and action, and I'm grateful for everyone's safety and well-being. And for our schools, I wanted to say thank you to Alpine Crest and Red Bank Elementary, Red Bank Middle, and Red Bank High Schools for participating in our parade. We love the decorated floats, cheer routines, the JROTC, and the marching bands. And finally, happiest and safest of holidays to you all. And next we have our Vice Mayor's report.
I also want to say thank you to everyone who made our incredible Red Bank Christmas Festival and Parade possible, especially our wonderful staff. I know all of our departments were involved in one way or another. And of course, our volunteer festival advisory board who poured countless hours. Basically, they just, as soon as one festival wraps up, as soon as the Jubilee wrapped up, they took like 1 month off, and then they were planning the Christmas parade since this summer, and it shows. It really was, they really knocked it out of the park. They do every year, but it does seem, like the mayor said, it is just bigger and better every year. And we got incredible feedback and made such great memories with our families and our neighbors. It's truly a privilege and a gem to have an event like that in our city. I wanted to wish everyone a happy holidays, as this is our last meeting before Christmas and New Year's and any other, wintertime festivities you may celebrate. I also wanted to give a brief shout out to Justin Hedrick. We got an update from our Public Works Department earlier in our work session, and Director Tate mentioned how many work orders he had fulfilled, over 600 this year, and I'm super excited about one in particular, which is we have a water bottle fill station here in this building in the police station where we hold our commission meetings. So thank you, Justin Hedrick and Public Works, for that particular 604th work order. And finally, the Red Bank Food Pantry will be this Thursday, December 19th. From 4:30 to 6 p.m. at Red Bank United Methodist Church. They usually experience unprecedented demand around holidays like these. This is be the last one before Christmas. So if you can give, if you can volunteer, you can sign up on the website. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Next, we have our report from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Thank you. Good evening on this December day. As a member of the festival committee and commissioner, our Red Bank Christmas Festival and Parade, which is mentioned already, was a success for our town. Again, vendors, food trucks, kids zone, and parade were a highlight. Jeffrey organized the call for participants, and many responded happily to our celebration. Many thanks to the All Ladies Board, who contribute with glee. Poor Jeffrey. It's all us ladies, and takes care of us and we take care of him. It's a pleasure to wear that hat with the logo, and the Public Works really is everywhere with setting up and breaking down. And it doesn't even look like there was an event when it's finished because it's all cleaned up so well. So thank you, Director Tate. Link Sparks notified me about Valentine's for Veterans on 2 Saturdays in January, the 18th and the 25th at the Community Center. The times will be 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come and join residents and friends to create meaningful Valentines for the many women and men who have served our country. And it's been ongoing for years. She started it as a class project when she was at Red Bank High School. The next Listen and Learn will be in 2025. Excuse me, January 20th at Sabor from 6 to 7. Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and Merry Christmas this season, and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And next we have a report from Commissioner Holmes.
All right. Good evening. I prepared my notes on my phone. Evening. Hope everyone is well. Had a great holiday season so far. I'm still new to reports and figuring out what to say because my colleague shares such great information, and there's not much for me to say when it is my turn. Thanks to those that came out to enjoy the Red Bank Holiday Festival and Parade. I enjoyed seeing former students and neighbors. I'm looking forward to more great events in 2025. If you have one of the library cards that the city issued this year, check out the many activities that they have at the library and check the details at their website. Lastly, I want to encourage us to look out for our neighbors this season. Check on our neighbors physically and their mental well-being. Holidays can be tough and stressful for some people. Just ask if they need help and be willing to lend a hand. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. And finally, we have our report from Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for coming out. Yeah, as my colleagues have said, the Christmas parade was fantastic. I wanted to thank my parents for coming up to experience it. I mean, it really is one of the kind of marquee days for our city, and to have that on display is really special to show my folks. Yeah, I mean, the kids zone, vendors, food trucks, so it all was really wonderful. And the weather too. I don't know how Jeffrey pulled that one. It was a major improvement over the previous year. So, I wanted to give some congratulations to the White Oak Bicycle Co-op for giving away 51 bikes to kids in less than 1 hour. This pushes the total number of bikes donated back into our community to 747 for calendar year 2025. I challenged Blake Pierce, who's the founder of White Oak Bicycle Co-op, to make it to 800, and he said they'd get close. So I think they'll give it a good, honest effort. But incredible work. I mean, those guys, wow, what a privilege to have them in our community. Lastly, I wanted to kind of give some recognition to Public Works for the improvements at the Kids Corner intersection. It's been a couple weeks since I had been down there to see it, but I love the design of the bump out to the traffic stop sign and the charging station. It really slows down the traffic in an area that has no business having fast traffic. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to see what it used to look like, you can still go on Google Maps, and it's like, why is there a slip lane there? It's the playground. So well done, guys. It looks really great.
Yeah.
That's my report. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we have our city manager's report, Mr. Branham.
Good evening, Mayor, Dalton, and Commissioners. Our comprehensive plan is approaching its final stages. Exclamation point. The Small Area Study held a third public engagement opportunity at the Christmas Festival on Saturday, where attendees got their first look at conceptual plans for the former Red Bank Middle School site. These were bird's eye illustrations of public input gathered from our existing conditions assessment, spring survey, and fall on-site workshop. Every phase of the study has shown an incredible turnout from citizens offering their insights on revitalization, recreation, and community building. TSW, our planning consultant, has facilitated an above and beyond public engagement strategy that will propel us down the home stretch of this process. Our final community meeting and open house style event will be on Tuesday, January 28th at 6 p.m. in the Red Bank Community Center. Stay tuned for more information. I'll say it again, Tuesday, January 28th at 6 p.m. at the Red Bank Community Center. Following this final engagement event, the draft version of both the comprehensive plan and small area study will make it to the Planning Commission and then on to City Commission in February for final consideration. Public Works recently added 4 personnel who completed CDL Class B training, as if there wasn't enough going on already in Public Works, bringing us to 14 CDL qualified personnel across all Public Works divisions. A significant accomplishment, giving us a seamless ability to accommodate unexpected needs or absences. Our engineer tech, Nate Hall, is working on transportation projects to submit to the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, for the 2026-2029 TIP call for projects due January 17th. And I'll just add, that's the gateway for all federal transportation dollars coming into the greater Chattanooga metropolitan area, which includes counties down in North Georgia as well. The State Route 8 restriping project, known in Red Bank as Dayton Boulevard, but it's Market Street also down in, it's Cherokee down in Chattanooga. The State Route 8 restriping project is moving forward in partnership with the City of Chattanooga and TDOT. Chattanooga Transportation has agreed to modify the State Route 8 striping design per TDOT's recommendations requirements and have their professional engineers stamp the plans for submission on behalf of Red Bank's portion. This courtesy provided by our colleagues in Chattanooga is saving us some design costs and ensuring seamless continuity with their portion of the project. And that was at the request of Director Tate. It was very good working relations with our sisters and brothers in Chattanooga. While Red Bank will need to pay for additional striping in the project area, it should be less than $10,000, and we plan to coordinate this with TDOT's contractor at the same time the TDOT striping is done. On a related note, our consultant Volkert is working to provide the city with plans for Dayton Boulevard north of the project area regarding what the city needs to do for striping, signage, and other requirements, specifically to properly channel southbound traffic into the new designs at Signal Mountain Road and beyond. Staff should have a proposed scope of work this month from Volkert, which will then allow us to develop a cost estimate. Staff are in discussion about revitalizing the dog park. This work will include nearby sidewalk reconfiguration to deconflict dog park patrons from other park patrons, as well as revitalize the dog park itself. In addition to the aforementioned 2026 through 2029 TIP call for new projects, staff are also preparing updated cost summaries to present the TPO for the following projects currently under contract. Low water bridge replacement, and its status is in preliminary design phase. ADA upgrades on the south end, and its design status is also in preliminary design phase. Resurfacing of Dayton Boulevard from Browntown to Gad, and that is its status is awaiting design approval. And Bike Boulevard, its status is at the consultant level. Jeffrey Gravy received a proposal for land donation from the Hill Point HOA by means of TPL representatives working with both parties on this matter. After discussions with me, Jeffrey is working through TPL to offer a counterproposal from the city. Work on this exciting win-win opportunity continues. Staff is preparing a prospective map / working boundary description of the field for use in discussions, as well as placement of signage around the field to make it protected area under Tennessee statute. Leaf collection continues through the month of December. Pumpkins for Pigs ended on December 7th and was a highly successful program. Earlier this month, we had our first waste oil pickup request for the solid waste division, and we happily obliged. And there are more expressed calls of interest coming in. The goal there is to divert waste oil from residential customers from storm drains and backyards and other places it doesn't belong. As a reminder, after Christmas, residents can take their live trees to the recycle center with ornaments removed. Under our partnership with Hamilton County Recycling, they will bring a chipper truck and mulch the trees and repurpose the mulch in landscaping. Keep an eye on Facebook page for more. The Duncan Hills traffic study continues until January 6th. The community center restroom construction continues through December. We are hearing good reports from users on both White Oak Park and the White Oak Connector Trail regarding the new sidewalk that's been placed connecting those two. The firm Turn to Us was selected to remodel the detective's offices upstairs in this facility. And as a reminder, there's no longer a commission meeting the first Tuesday in January. So our next work session and regular meeting will be the third Tuesday of January, which falls on Tuesday, 21 January, 2025. And lastly, we are in the holiday season. City offices will be closed on the following dates: 24 and 25 December in observance of the Christmas holiday, 31 December and 1 January in observance of the New Year holiday, and Monday, 20 January in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Thank you, Mayor Dolan.
Thank you, Mr. Granum. Lots of very, very helpful information and updates. The next item of business is our beer board meeting, but it's my understanding the applicant cannot be here tonight. So can I get a motion to table?
I'll move.
And motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Terry Holmes, or Commissioner Terry Holmes. All in favor?
Up to table until when?
To table until
The next meeting?
January.
21.
until January 21, 2025. Okay. Motion from Vice Mayor Berry and a second from Commissioner Holmes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And we will have this beer board hearing on January 21st. Moving on to unfinished business. Item A, ordinance number 24-1269, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, amending the zoning ordinance and maps of the city to rezone property at 619 Lowwater Road from R1 residential to RTZ residential townhouse, 0 lot line. Second and final reading. Director Johnson.
Good evening.
Hello.
As you stated, this is here for a second and final reading, but I want to give you just a brief history of where we are. Mr. Tim Bryant, who is the property owner, did petition the Planning Commission as well as City Commission to rezone the property located at 619 Lowwater Road. The Red Bank Planning Commission did hear that consideration at their October 23rd meeting. That was recommended approval to come to City Commission on December 3rd. We had a first reading, also included a public hearing. Comments, conversations, we documented all of that information. There was no opposition. This particular property is in harmony with other uses in the property as well. We have several RTZ currently on the books and development underway. On first reading, this commission did remove the conditions that were recommended by the Planning Commission. So if I can bring your attention to the last whereas in this ordinance, we will need to remove as conditioned herein simply because those don't exist. So that'll just be a typo that we will clarify on this final document.
Okay.
Again, it's here for a final and second reading, so we recommend that it be passed as submitted.
Thank you, Director Johnson. Do I have a motion to approve as amended by Director Johnson?
I'll move.
Motion from Vice Mayor Beard. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Is there any further discussion? Any comments from the residents present? Okay. If there are no more comments, Ms. Sheldon, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Stephanie Dalton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holly Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Terry Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayes Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries on second and final reading. Moving on to new business. Item A, ordinance 24-1270, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, to amend Title I, Chapter 1, Section 104 of the Red Bank City Code regarding order of business. First reading. Mr. Greeno.
Thank you, Mayor Dalton, and good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. At work session, we went over in some great detail, and I will be a little bit more succinct. But this proposal is to change our order of business. And in the little trifold brochures that we've made available, we have celebrated the order of business, which has been set for us originally in our charter, and then more recently in our ordinance 15-1019. And the order sets the flow of scheduled events for the commission meeting. So I'll read through these whereases, which really state why we're undertaking this tonight. Efficient public meetings encourage public attendance and facilitate public involvement and engagement. Efficient public meetings respect the value not only of the public's time, but of the time of the commissioners and staff as well. The purpose of consent agenda is to streamline meetings. A consent agenda is a common tool used by local governments across the state and nation and is a best practice. And we held up the city of Oak Ridge as one local example, and Hamilton County as another local example of where they have instituted a consent agenda in their order of business. A consent agenda is a list of routine items that are grouped together on a meeting agenda and approved in one action. Typically, it would include all the minutes, and there were 3 specific actions tonight that would all be condensed into the consent agenda. Last, this was addressed in Ordinance 15-1019 and established our current order of business. And the proposal is, in short, to basically move what is currently item 5, consideration of the minutes for approval or correction. That would drop down to a new item 10. And so the flow is now listed in the proposed ordinance. The first 4 are unchanged. The new 5 becomes communication from the mayor, followed by commissioner reports, followed by city manager report, and then you get to item Roman numeral 8, which is the consent agenda. And that would be where these routine things would be considered. Later in the ordinance, in section 3, we talk about the mechanics, and basically any commissioner can request something be deleted from the consent agenda, and it automatically is deleted. It doesn't require a second or any discussion. Anything that remains on the consent agenda would move through on that consent agenda, and any items that were withdrawn from the consent agenda automatically drop down to new item 10, new business, and they're added at the end of that list. So as many items fell out of the consent agenda, that would be added individually at the bottom of the list for new business for consideration. Lastly, I will say that this does not decrease the transparency of any of these documents. They'll all be fully listed in the packet. They'll all be fully listed in the minutes, and they will be available for anybody to see and comment on. And as we discussed in the work session, that our protocol would be when the consent agenda comes up, the presiding official would call for a motion and a second, and then ask for public opinion. If there's any public comments at that time, the public could come up and comment even on the consent agenda item. And if any member of the commission decided at that time to pull something, it would be pulled and dropped down. But I think it's a best practice, and I'm very pleased that I want to compliment Director of Administration and Finance, Tracy Perry, for teeing this up for our consideration this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor. I do have a question. Maybe I misheard you, but it sounded like you said anybody can delete an item at any time?
I may have said that, I misspoke.
Okay,
It just dropped down and pulled it off the consent agenda, and it drops down to another new item
okay,
and then under new business.
okay. I just wanted to make sure that, because I didn't see that in the ordinance anywhere, that we could remove an item just without,
I misspoke. Thank you, Mayor.
discussion. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that
Yes,
for
ma'am.
me. Okay. Let's see. Do I have a motion to approve?
Oh, second.
A motion from Vice Mayor Barry and a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any discussion or questions?
I'm excited about this. It should help our meetings flow. We have pretty good, efficient meetings, but should make it even better.
Yes, I agree. Okay. Any comments from the residents present? All right. If there are no more comments, Ms. Sheldon, can you please call the vote?
Mayor Stephanie Dahl,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Holly Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Terry Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Hazel.
Yes.
Excellent. Motion carries on first reading, and we will have second and final reading at our January 21st meeting. All right. Item B, resolution number 24-1760, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing the acceptance of the Tennessee American Water 2024 Firefighting Support Grant Program in the amount of $1,000. Ms. Pickle, you are not Chief Seiler, who I have in my notes.
No, I am not. I'm actually filling in for Fire Chief.
Thank you.
This evening. So, what this is basically the end of the whole process. So we have already had the approval for applying for and receiving the grant, and now we need to accept that. So basically, we need to deposit the check for the $1,000. And I had a note from Brent Seiler this morning. He said, we propose to purchase forcible entry equipment, VES, which is vent enter search window prop for the second floor of our drill tower behind Station 2. And as you probably know, we've already purchased this equipment. So it will be just reimbursing that purchase.
That's right. Yes, I actually reached out to Chief Seiler yesterday, and he said the total cost was a little over $3,000. So this helps reduce that cost. Perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Pickle. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second from Commissioner Holmes. Any further discussion or questions? Ms. Pickle? Nope. All right. Any comments from the residents present? No. All right, there's no more comments. We'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business, resolution number 24-1761, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, amending resolution 24-1685, appointing up to 10 members to the City of Red Bank Cemetery Citizens Advisory Board. Mr. Tate.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioners, I am recommending the appointment of one Mr. Freddie Hanner. And I think everybody here knows Freddie Hanner. We've had a couple members of our Cemetery Advisory Board that one has moved out of town, and the other, I think they left slightly before I became associated with the board in an official capacity. But Mr. Freddie Hanner has agreed to serve after much recruitment from Mr. Sal Arago Jr. And I met Mr. Hanner probably 5 years ago when he wanted to bring his food truck. And everybody knows this food truck, that little orange bean looking thing. And, he has moved around in that block with his business. He was over by Vintage and More at one time, moved across the street. But, he is very interested in being part of this board. And I think he will be a great enhancement to our Cemetery Advisory Board and the activities and the goals that they have set. And with your permission, your approval, we would like to add him to that list. And we will be coming back in January with a second member to add to that.
To complete the
To complete the 10
10-member
members.
board.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, thank you. And Mr. Hanner, he does serve on another one of our citizen advisory boards, right? The nonprofit board, okay. What a wonderful community member and volunteer.
He is. He's a nice guy.
He is,
He is
he's
a really
wonderful.
nice guy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tate. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Motion from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second from Commissioner Holmes. Is there any further discussion?
Mayor, may I?
Yes, please, Mr. Graham.
I just love to brag about Freddie. He's just an extraordinary person. If you ever have a chance to have a conversation with him, he rode locally. He's got lots of stories to tell. He has joined, particularly the Cemetery Advisory Board to be involved in the field. And he is also being appointed that stakeholder group, which City of Red Bank and Trust for Public Land are jointly staffing. That will be a sounding board for everything that we are going to consider going forward for the field. And he hiked the field with Megan and several of us here recently. So he's had boots on the ground and really seen the need to provide appropriate stewardship of that cultural treasure.
Indeed. Thank you, Mr. Crane. Do we have any comments from the residents present? Okay. There's no comments. We'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And for our final item of business, resolution number 24-1762, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, authorizing contract addendum number 2 with Barge Design Solutions for professional services estimated not to exceed $97,200, utilizing allocated ARPA funds to provide additional and necessary services to include property title work, platting, and an environmental assessment of existing public works structure. Director Johnson.
Good evening, thank you. This is the additional services that are described in this scope of work are necessary for us to continue our due diligence for identifying not only the public works needs of a future facility, but it also helps us clean up the property lines. Don't want that to sound as if there's a problem, but the history of the property was probably, a lack of better terms, was simply an exchanging of keys when the property was acquired by Red Bank. So there's not a whole lot of history there. We don't have clear title work. And as you do know, we have a multitude of utility easements that do cut across the property. So again, this is just that due diligence to help us make sure that we have what we have, we own what we own. We're recognizing all the other utilities and other providers that may be in the area, which will help us lay out what a potential site plan and location for this new facility could look like. So once we get through this process, when we do start getting some draft documents, we will come back to commission and work session and walk through what these plats look like to give you the bigger picture. I know right now it's been a lot of just documents and resolutions and some work that's going into it, but at the end of the day, we will bring some preliminary information to you, so you'll see what we're actually discovering.
Is the environmental assessment strictly because it had the underground storage tank and used to operate as a gas station, I guess?
It's really twofold. The tanks have been removed, and we do have documentation where that's been authorized and cleared through the state. The environmental assessment is actually of the structure itself. Anytime you get ready to or propose a demolition of a property, state statutes do require an environmental level be performed to make sure that we're not opening Pandora's box.
And there has
if there are environmental issues, then we plan for those accordingly so that they are remediated in accordance with state law.
And that, I remember that now, that like something about light bulbs with freon
Sometimes
or something, they have to be
asbestos.
disposed of properly. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Asbestos, especially given the age of the structure, a lot of times we're going to find asbestos, but truly on how much and how much has to be remediated can only be determined through some of these environmental assessments.
I did remember that, I think it said that it didn't include evaluating for the presence of lead paint. Is that because, I mean, is that just beyond their scope?
I would say biggest reason is, the environmental assessments are required air pollution control and things like that. We tore down the impound lot down East Midvale. We owned the building, but before we had to tear it down, we had to do the same thing. It cost the city $20,000 10 years ago to tear that building down to do this part. But, like you said, light bulbs, asbestos. I don't know that lead paint reaches the threshold that the EPA monitors it that closely for a single building.
Okay.
But certainly the asbestos part of it, and who knows what went on there before we took possession of it.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Motion to approve by Vice Mayor Berry. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any further discussion? No? Okay. Any comments from the residents present? Okay, thank you, Director Johnson. There are no more comments. We'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And finally, we will move on to citizen comments from Red Bank citizens on items not on the agenda. Mr. Branham.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer visible on the dais. Please respect her direction and conclude any comments if time expires. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner, the city staff, or the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during citizen comment. At this time, citizens are invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
Okay, looks like we have no comments tonight. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Have a motion from Substitute Commissioner P. Phillips. From Commissioner Wilkinson, seconded by Commissioner Holmes. All in favor? Aye. Motion is adjourned, or meeting is adjourned. And the motion is meeting and all of it. Motion carries. All of it's adjourned. That wasn't on my meeting. That wasn't my minutes. I'm out.